Salvete discipuli, hello and welcome to Latin class this week. This week we're going to be learning some nature vocabulary, or natura in Latin, vocabulary having to do with nature. And then I just got a small little assignment for you guys this week. So let's get started. All right, so natura is the title of our vocab lesson today. So natura is our Latin word for nature. It's where we get the word nature from, which is nice. You can see that right there. Now, all of our words today are going to be nouns. So they're all going to be nouns relating to nature. Now, it's been a while since we've kind of done full Latin classes. But just remember nouns, right, in Latin, because I think the last few lessons we've had have had some like verbs and things like that. So nouns, remember, nouns have grammatical gender. So each of these nouns will have a gender, grammatical gender assigned to it. So it's either masculine, feminine, or neuter. And then some of the nouns we're learning today, we're going to learn both the singular and the plural form. So we've done this before back when we did our food vocabulary. Remember some of our foods, like our fruits and things, we learned the plural forms for those. So we're going to learn a few of these in their plural forms as well. So make sure you get both of them down if there are a singular and a plural form listed. So singular and plural forms, these are all nouns, so they're all going to have a grammatical gender, so make sure you write that down as well. Take notes on these, and then on Google Classroom, I'm going to post just a short assignment. There's going to be a crossword puzzle and then a little sort of drawing assignment that's just for fun that I'll tell you about at the end of this. So let's talk about our nouns for nature, natura. All right, so our first noun we're learning is one of the ones where we have the singular and the plural. So we have arbor, and we have arbores. So arbor is the singular and arbores is the plural, and this is a feminine noun. And this is, if you know Spanish at all, this is very similar to the Spanish word for this, arbol, with an L at the end. This is the Latin word for tree, or arbores would be trees, plural. So arbor means tree, just one, and arbores means trees, plural. Okay? And as we go through this, again, practice saying these words out loud, repeat after me. If you need to pause the video to write down the words, go ahead. Or these slides will also be posted on Google Classroom, so you can always go back later and write down the vocab after watching the video. This is more for practicing, hearing, and speaking the pronunciation of the words themselves. So next we have silva. Silva. Remember, those V's are pronounced like W's in Latin, and this is a feminine noun. Luckily, this one has that A ending that tells us it's feminine. This is our Latin word for a forest. So silva is a forest. I don't know if there's any Lord of the Rings fans out there, but J.R.R. Tolkien did study Latin and many other languages. He was a linguist, and in the Lord of the Rings, there's a group of elves that are called the Sylvan elves, and those are the woodland elves, the elves that live in the forest. So Sylvan from this Silva. So there's Latin in lots of books that are out there, whether you are aware of it or not. So Silva is our word for forest. Next, we have another one that we've got the singular and the plural. This is flos, and then in the plural it is flores. Flores. And this is a masculine word, and this is our word for flower, right? Flos is flower, singular, and then flores is going to be flowers, plural. And this is related to the word like floral, meaning there's flowers there, or a florist is someone who sells flowers. So that comes from this part. So we see that this changes a bit from the singular to the plural. That happens sometimes in Latin. And usually if that happens, the plural form is where we'll get English words from. So floral has that R there instead of, it's not flosal. So this typically changes. That S is only there in the singular form. All right, so our word for flower or flowers. Next we have herba. Erba, this is a feminine word, another A ending feminine, nice and easy there. This is our Latin word for grass. And this is related to our word like herbs. So herbs are typically like plants that we use for like seasonings and stuff like that. But in Latin, this did refer more to kind of grass in general or plants kind of in general. So herba is our word for grass. And this is kind of a weird one because we typically you see this in the singular, even though grass kind of is a plural, like there's lots of blades of grass. But we typically talk about grass more in a singular form, even though we know it's referring to kind of more plural grasses. So that's kind of an interesting one grammatically there. Next, we have flumen. Flumen is a neuter noun. We started seeing neuter nouns with our food vocabulary, and so we've got a couple of them here. I think this is the main one we've got. So flumen is our Latin word for river. So flumen is a neuter word, a neuter noun, and it is our word for a river. I don't really have any helpful tricks for you with this one, but I always think, for whatever reason, the first part of the word flumen, I always think of like a river flows, and that's how I would always remember this word. So maybe that'll help you. All right, next we have lacus. Lacus is masculine. It's got that nice masculine US ending there. And this is our Latin word for a lake. You can kind of see it. It sounds, when you say lacus, it sounds like our word for lake. So hopefully that one will be a bit easy to remember. Lacus is lake. And next we have, this one's fun. I like this word. This is spelunca. Spelunca is a feminine word. It's got that feminine A. This is our Latin word for a cave. And I like this word because I remember being a kid and someone telling me about spelunking, and I thought it was a fake word. But spelunking is an actual word in English, and it means to explore caves, right? Cave diving or cave exploration. And it's from the Latin word for cave, spelunca. So it's a fun word in English, spelunking. If you're going spelunking, it means you're going to explore a cave from this Latin word, spelunca. So it's kind of a fun little word there. All right, next we have lapis. Lapis is a masculine word, and this is going to be our word for a stone. And this is, in English, this is most common where we hear about the stone lapis lazuli, or lazuli, however you pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. But lapis lazuli, it's a blue stone. And so this lapis here is the Latin word for stone there. And in Latin, this is often going to refer to kind of a boundary stone or a marker that would kind of tell you, oh, this is the beginning of a new area or somebody's land or something like that. So stone. And then we have collis. Collis is a masculine word. This is our Latin word for a hill. This is our word for a hill. So that's a nice hill there. I don't have any tricks for you guys for this one, but collis means hill. And next we have mons or montes. Mons or montes, again, a singular and a plural form. This one is masculine. This is our Latin word for mountain or mountains. And in this plural form, you can see that montes, right? That T there after the N, that is related to our mountain, our word for mountain. So montes is mountains. So hopefully you can remember that. Or mons is mountain, montes, mountains, plural. And then I think this is our last word. We have vulcanus. Vulcanus is masculine. And this is, if you couldn't guess, this is our word for volcano. Now, I'm not sure exactly when this word came to be in Latin. They didn't originally have a word for volcano in Latin. It wasn't until they kind of started figuring out what volcanoes were. But the most famous volcano in Rome, obviously, was Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius in Pompeii, which I was fortunate enough to visit last summer. But yeah, this is a volcano, the volcanic eruption that destroyed the town of Pompeii. And you can go and visit Pompeii. It's been excavated quite a bit at this point, so you can kind of wander around the ruins of this ancient Roman city, which is pretty cool. So Vulcanus, this is obviously the Latin is related to Vulcan, who was the Roman version of Hephaestus. He's the god of forges and things like that. He's often associated with volcanoes and fire because that was thought to be where the forges of like the gods and the Titans were, or the Cyclopes, the Cyclops. They had their forges under volcanoes, it was believed. So another volcano I got to visit was Mount Etna in Sicily. And that's another volcano that's associated with mythology and where they believed, again, that like certain Cyclopes had their underground forges where they would forge weapons for the gods and things like that. So pretty cool. That's more Greek mythology than Roman, but they're all kind of intertwined. So those are our words for today. Oh, nope, sorry, I lied. We've got a couple more. I forgot I had a few words related to more of like the sky. So this is kind of tying into our weather vocabulary from last week almost. Just things kind of doing with the sky and nature. So kailum, this is a neuter noun. This is our word for the sky. So kailum, this is if you ever are attended Catholic Mass, they use this in the Latin, although they pronounce it a bit differently. In Celi is how they pronounce it. And there's a different ending on there for grammatical reasons. But they pronounce it a bit differently in the church. Church Latin is pronounced more like Italian than classical Latin, which is how I pronounce things in class. But so this is used in the Catholic Church, this word. So yeah, so that's kind of a cool one. Sol, this one we did see last week. Sol lucet, we had it with our phrase, the sun shines. So sol, the noun, is just our word for sun. And this is where we get words like solar, right? Like a solar eclipse or solar flares or things like that. So sol is our Latin word for sun. And then luna. Luna is going to be feminine. This is our Latin word for the moon. And this is the same as it is in Spanish, which is kind of nice. Luna, la luna. So this is where we get words like lunar, like the lunar cycles or a lunar eclipse, things like that. And then I think this one is our last one, actually this time. And this is stela or stelae. This is a feminine noun. Again, we have the singular stela and the plural stelae. This is our Latin word for star or stars. And this ties back into our first lesson we did of this semester, which is those constellations. If you look at the word constellation, you see that stella right in there. So constellations literally is kind of a combination of words that means stars together, right? Stars that are put together to form a sort of picture in the sky. So stella is our word for star, and stelae is just the plural stars. And that, I believe, is the end. Yes, it is. All right, so those are all of our vocab words relating to nature. So do make sure you practice saying them out loud. Get them written down in your notes so you have them. You're going to use these words for completing the crossword puzzle. In the crossword puzzle, pay attention to whether the hint is singular or plural and make sure you write the correct form of the Latin in the crossword puzzle, otherwise it won't fit. So you make sure you're paying attention to whether it's singular or plural on the crossword puzzle. And then the other assignment, which is also on Google Classroom, is just kind of a silly, fun one. You know me, I like having you guys draw things using the Latin words. I think it's fun. I love seeing what you all come up with. So the other assignment is going to be using your nature vocabulary to draw a nature scene. And again, those of you who are fully remote haven't gotten to see in person my lovely stick figure drawings, but my artistic skills are minimal, so don't feel bad. I know quite a few of you have turned in the most beautiful assignments, so I know there's a lot of artistic skills with my remote students, but even if you are more of a stick figure artist like myself, luckily a lot of nature things are easy to draw, right? Like mountains, you just draw some like triangles, stars, right? You can make it work pretty simply. So you're going to need to create a nature scene using at least I think I have at least six of our vocab words, and then you're going to label the nature items with their Latin words. So if you have a mountain in your picture, you'll label it mons, or if you have multiple mountains, you'll label them montes. For example, if you have trees, right, arbores, label them there. You can put grass, you can put stars, you can put the sun in the sky, you can make it in daytime or nighttime, however you want. It just needs to have six of your words, have them labeled with the Latin, and then do color it in. It's much more fun for me if it's colored. And my fully remote students, as always, do make sure that you email me a picture, or you can submit your picture on the assignment on Google Classroom itself. So whichever is easiest for you, as long as I get it. And that's all due next Monday. So if you have any questions on any of the assignments or on any of these words, please email me and let me know. Otherwise, enjoy, have fun with the crossword puzzle and the drawing. And I will see you all in next week's lesson. Walete discipuli.